The fire horse energy isn't about pushing harder. It's about moving forward because you're feeling supported. That energy of support, that soft, feminine flow. And when you know you're supported, it's an easier journey to move forward.
How to know you're in survival mode is to listen to your body, because it's giving you all the cues. Like, your dysfunction is actually structural, because in essence, you are whole and complete. You're pure creative spirit embodied.
Understanding that the information that our feelings and our emotions carry, go back and what were you thinking before that? And then knowing that our thoughts are not who we are anyway, we can change that. It can be challenging, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes, because you feel better. Each time you do it, you will feel better. You will feel more yourself. You will feel more not at the mercy of the chaos.
I think that's one of the big indicators that you're in survival mode, when you think you can't really ask for help, or you don't know how to ask for help.
When I was in survival mode, I felt like I wasn't connected to me and my higher self or the divine. Every time I stepped out of that trust, I had to really step into that piece of myself and trust and allow for things to unfold.
We're in a world right now where we're out of alignment with our own energies, and then we're also not taught how to tune in with ourselves, not to tune in with our bodies, and not to tune in with our higher self.
Hello, beautiful souls. It is Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. But before we dive into today's Wisdom Circle, I have a small request from my heart. If our conversations ever resonate with you or support you on your journey, please subscribe to our channel or like this video. It helps us grow Sacred You, welcome more powerful voices into this space, and keep you connected to everything we share. Thank you so much for walking this path with us, and let us begin with today's conversation. Welcome to another beautiful Wisdom Circle. I'm really excited. Of course, my name's Sophia from Sacred You, just doing the last bit of techie stuff, but I'm really excited because back for this year is the beautiful Jo Irwin with her incredible Wisdom Circle, an opportunity to share experiences and wisdom all about returning to the self, a topic very close to my heart, reclaiming yourself and your inner wisdom. Love it. Thank you so much, Jo. I'm going to hand it over to you to tell us a little bit about yourself, the Wisdom Circle, and then to introduce to our beautiful panel. Thank you, and I will be back.
Thank you, Sophia. And yes, our first one back for the year. I'm very excited, and I have some incredible women from all over the world joining us for this circle today. So thank you, ladies, for coming in with your wisdom as well. And I'll get you to introduce yourselves in a second. But I have been in the realm of health and well-being and spiritual discovery and all the things, all the woo and all the natural therapies and blah, blah, for the last 40 odd years. And I brought up 4 children on my own, and it was just amazing to be able to serve them and help them be healthy and give them an opportunity to step into their lives as adults with all this knowledge. So they came along for the ride, and it's been an incredible journey for me. And now I work with women to step into their own power and heal themselves, and also work primarily with anxiety and overwhelm, because there's just so much of it out there these days. The world has changed dramatically from 40 years ago, and there's just more and more people needing support. So this year I've come in with the theme of support being your superpower. But for our topic today, I would love to explore our fire horse energy that we're about to move into. It's going to be a really great conversation today. But without further ado, I'd love for the ladies to introduce themselves. Please, we might start with who's on my right. Helen, would you love to jump in and share a little bit about yourself? Just a 30-second, if that's okay, so we can dive into the topic.
Perfect, Jo. Thank you so much. I'm Helen. I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, close by to Jo, and I work in my business called Pleasure Waves. I work as an intimacy coach and as a Qigong teacher. I've been married to my amazing lover for 46 years.
Wow.
We have 3 adult children. So, yeah, nice to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wow, exciting. Thanks, Helen. How about Candida?
Hi, I'm Candida and I'm from Adelaide, South Australia. And I also have brought up 2 children on my own, and it's been amazing, as you have said, Joe. Children who are now 51 and 46, but you never stop being a parent. But I've had my health and wellness business for over 3 decades now. I've done many years of teaching in schools in the past. It's like an umbrella business where I do a range of things like hypnotherapy, a spiritual life coach, spiritual mentor, energy healer, yoga teacher, retreat leader, and a whole lot of healing modalities like Bowen therapy, lymphatic drainage, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm constantly, I feel, returning to myself. In the more I do, the more I learn and the more I'm able to share. And it's like this circular thing that keeps going. It's amazing. An amazing journey. Yeah.
It is amazing, isn't it? And you sound like you're repeating my life then. It's incredible, the more we look, the more we want to find and learn and evolve and grow and share.
And the more we realize that we don't know, the more we think we know.
Exactly. There's always more. Thank you, Candy. That's beautiful work you're doing. Becca, the beautiful Becca.
Hi everyone, I am Becca Shaw. I am originally from England, but I'm currently in Canada, just a bit south of Toronto in Ontario. Hoping to leave in end of March, go back to the UK for a bit of an adventure. Everything spiritual and holistic, and I will just keep learning forever. I will never stop. So I literally have a long list of modalities that I won't bore you with, but my current thing that I'm really into is my coaching, because I'm bringing in aspects of the Akashic Records and astrology and human design and all of these things, as well as Holy Fire Reiki as well. And just, bringing in lots of different things and bringing it all together to empower people to understand themselves and to align with their own blueprint and understand that maybe things that they feel are negative are actually their superpower, are actually their guidance. So it's been a really interesting adventure last year and this year for sure.
Wow, well done you, and excited for your next journey back to your homeland. Beautiful. Thanks, Beck. Melissa.
Hello, I am Melissa. I'm in the middle of the USA in St. Louis, Missouri. I am also a single mom of 3 children. I've been for a while now, about 15 years, and I resonate with what everyone else is sharing. I have so many modalities and certifications, I can't even count anymore. But all of what I've been, I believe, building myself to do in this divine feminine energy that I've been cultivating for myself the last 15 years is I'm a professional speaker, and I speak on a framework called Reclaim, Rebuild, Restore. And I'm a fire walk instructor. So I have walked on fire over 120 times, and I incorporate my fire walk instructor experience in my keynote talk. And I am also an Akashic record reader. I'm a medium. I've mentored hundreds and hundreds of people, but my true focus now, as my children are 18, 20, and 22, is to really get out on the road and bring my keynote to the world, and then step into maybe some women's workshops and things like that.
Wow.
Yes, this is awesome. Thanks.
Amazing. We've got so much wisdom in this group. And Phannie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Phannie. I'm in Denver, Colorado, in the US, and I'm a new mom. I have a 1.5-year-old, so I'm at the very beginning of my mothering journey. So far, 10 out of 10 recommend. I am all things consciousness and body and embodiment, and I teach the structures of consciousness and creation, and then I bring everything back to body, to movement, to knowing yourself through your form as a portal to your soul or your spirit.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, alchemy
Beautiful.
and statics and all sorts of
Beautiful.
that stuff.
Beautiful. Thank you. Welcome. And congratulations on being a new mum. I was just when I turned my computer on this morning to get my notes, you're not going to believe what popped up. And I don't know how it happened, but there is no coincidences, I believe. But for some reason, YouTube opened and it was Tony Robbins' last day of his bonus day or something of his. And I did all Tony's work years ago when you talk about firewalk. I used to help with the firewalks and things like that. But it was just like, whoa, what a day to land his presence. He's a big personality. And he was just talking about that whole, he did the last thing around envisioning an incantation about what you want for your life, but took you back to memories of when you felt so much gratitude or when you felt so much joy or an emotion. And mine went back to when my daughter was born. Oh my goodness, my first daughter. And I'll never forget it. It's just like an euphoric moment that, and you can bring these states back into your life any given moment. And remembering that when you talked about the new baby, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Let's dive in and talk about the year of the fire horse. We're galloping into the year of the fire horse, and everywhere I look at the moment, I can see everybody started to do their travel plans and set their intentions and renew themselves this year. I don't know if you've noticed that around you, but I am noticing it everywhere. So as we step into that, it's all about that energy moving forward, the courage to step out of out of the known into the unknown and explore new things. And it's like a forward movement. That's what I'm feeling. Has anybody else noticed that? Yeah. It's new energy, new movement. Let's do this. But before we run into that, I'd just like to quickly, I always like to stop and start with a pause and a breath, just to bring us into the present moment. So if you're watching out there in the world of technology, stop with us for a moment and just take some big, deep breaths just to bring you back into your body, into the space, into the moment, being fully present, feet on the floor, feeling grounded before we move forward. And again, that's it. Beautiful, because momentum without support often keeps us in that survival. So when we pause, we're bringing ourselves back into this moment and feeling and being totally present with the conversation. So I think a lot of people are going to relate to this topic of when you're running in survival mode. Who are you when you're in that space, who are you when you're not in survival mode, basically? Let's explore that a little, because many of us, and I know for me in the past, I've operated from being a single mom, I operate from this very masculine energy of survival. And I think you can relate to that, pushing, and you single mums know, we had to put food on the table, a roof over their head. So it was always just this whole energy of moving in a way that was not serving us, because eventually we just burn out. And it was a coping mechanism. Yeah, holding it all together. And I did a live on around that one, letting go of that identity of holding it all together, being the strong one, before on my journey of learning all the work. So I feel like the fire horse energy isn't about pushing harder. It's about moving forward because you're feeling supported. You know, that energy of support, that soft, feminine flow. And when you know you're supported, it's a much an easier journey to move forward. It reframes it from that push, shove, hustle energy to total embodiment of rest and restoration, and just being that energy of support. So I would love to open up today with a bit of a reflection around, and maybe it's not where you are now, it could be something you've experienced in the past, but if it is now, that's fine as well, because I think there's parts of us that are always operating in that survival mode, right? Because I don't think we've healed all of the conditions, all the programming. Even 40 years doing the work, I still find stuff and I still go, oh, that's interesting. And often it's related to stuff I knew, but there's still another little layer there, a flavor there. So how do you know when you're in survival? I'd love to open up with how, when you're in survival, running on that adrenaline, always being on with no space to feel. Who would like to jump in there?
Jo, if I may?
Yeah.
So this is something that has been the cornerstone of my teachings, like for so many years, like in schools and with adults as well. And the thing that I think is integral is when we understand that our feelings and our emotions are an energy that carry information. And they are telling us either everything's fine or everything's not. And so if we are aware of our feelings, and then that can take us to what were we thinking before that, because it's everything starting with a thought, right? And then gradually as we practice that, so every time we're feeling not okay, like when we're in this survival mode, it's all that go, but we can feel a fastness within us. And it's not enough time. There's kind of this and all of that kind of stuff. And I can't go here because I don't have time. When we notice because we can hear ourselves, and when we notice ourselves doing that, just to, what am I feeling? And what is my feeling trying to tell me? It's like a GPS. So you're going the wrong way, you turned the wrong way, or you can go that way. Because nothing is right or wrong, but it's going to be harder. So I think it's about just understanding that, about the information that our feelings and our emotions carry. Go back and what were you thinking before that? And then knowing that our thoughts are not who we are anyway, we can change that. Now, make it sound really simple. It can be challenging. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes because you feel better. Like each time you do it, you will feel better. You will feel more yourself. You will feel more not at the mercy of the chaos, and a return to self in that way.
Yes, I love that. And you're right, it's not easy, but it's simple, right?
Yes.
If we just remember to stop
Yes.
and go, oh, and I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday. She says, oh, Mum, but it's just a habit to apologize. I'm like, maybe just start practicing. When you say it, you don't have to correct yourself out loud, but you can correct yourself in here and just erase that because you've got nothing to apologize for.
No, and it's about a readjustment, I believe. It's so that
Yes.
we don't beat ourselves up. Oh, I did something wrong. Just adjust, course correct, just like a GPS.
Yes, and over time it will just rewire.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you, Candy. That's beautiful.
Welcome.
Anyone else want to? Yes, Helen, please.
So my lived experience of being in survival mode was living just with deteriorating health. And I had chronic fatigue for many years, and then it continued on, and I couldn't find answers to help me move out of that. And the culmination of that was in my early 50s. I had 3 diagnoses of cancer in 2 years.
Yeah.
And soon after that, my mum was diagnosed with cancer, and I ended up being her carer, and unfortunately she passed away. But I came to a crisis point. But I think that survival mode, when I look back, the things that contributed to that was I was bringing up 3 children. I was working almost full time. I was working on a business with my husband, and I never truly rested. I never truly stopped. I would crash at 11 o'clock at night, sleep hard for a few hours, get up, and every day was just so full. And I felt like it all fell on me. I think that's one of the big indicators that you're in survival mode, when you think you can't really ask for help, or you don't know how to ask for help, or you're taking on more responsibility for yourself yourself than you actually really need to. Since then, my journey's been moving into the holistic world and moving out of that survival sense, first to stability and then into really becoming a significant person in being able to offer healing to other people. Yeah.
That's so beautiful and it's so relevant, isn't it? So many. I watched my mum suffer. She brought up 6 kids, had a husband but was working, and she passed away at the age of 61 because of stress. When you look at the pattern, you go, whoa. And that at that moment, I said, I'm not going to let that happen to anyone else's mum. And that was my defining moment, right? When I was in the health and wellness already. And I thought, wow, it's so important to take care of ourselves first.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Helen. I'm so happy that you're so well now.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else want to share around this?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, Phannie.
I like what you said about like how to know you're in. One thing that's really obvious for me, how to know you're in survival mode is to listen to your body because it's giving you all the cues. But I love what you said about no matter how much healing you think you've done, like things come back around. And that's exactly what I teach in the work that I do, is that like your dysfunction is actually structural, because in essence, you are whole and complete. You're pure creative spirit embodied. And structurally, like a mechanism of having the experience of separation, which is our wounding, is our pain, is what our survival is built around. It's like we're vulnerable, we have bodies, we have needs. That is right up against our true potential in our hearts. And so it's always there. But I really think the transition that we all make as we come into our wholeness is we don't let that run the show anymore. So I think to know that you're in survival mode is like you have to know your own patterns of dysfunction that you enlist, because they make you feel safer, even though they create the suffering you experience. And like, I know a lot of people don't come to this work until much later in life, because you have to either have been paying attention long enough to be like, something's going on here and I'm the common denominator. And then and you're like,
get real with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But it's so powerful to, and I like what Candida was saying also, it's like when you're having, like when you're being communicated to by your thoughts and feelings, it's indicating to you that your attention is on how you feel incomplete. And as soon as you acknowledge those things, like there's this fine line of acknowledging without buying into. And so you acknowledge, and then all of a sudden that frees up your attention to refocus on who you really are. So that's, for me, I use the body. I'm like, how am I? And for me, like my dysfunction is like not overworking. It's like shutting down, laziness, disconnecting, like retreating. I like won't push hard. I won't push back. And I had to learn that's like my dysfunction and how I deal with stress versus other people who want to take control or whatever. And we all have a patterned expression of that. And it's so important to learn that. Learning that gives you a choice.
100%. Thank you. Yes, so true. It's listening to the wisdom of your own body and your rhythms. Rest when you need, but don't use it as an excuse to not keep moving forward, because that can happen as well. And you just and this is that whole flight, fight, freeze, isn't it? And fawn now, they say. So we're looking at what your patterns are. And are you running in survival? Or are you just needing space to rejuvenate too? That's okay as well. We get a masculine, feminine energy again. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Phannie. Did you any ladies want to jump in, or shall we move on to Beck? Are you about to say something? Or Melissa? No? So maybe we could continue this theme and asking yourselves, if survival was no longer required, what might you naturally move or shift in your life? If that was a pattern in the past, maybe it's already shifted, or moved? What's moved for you as a result of knowing yourself, knowing your patterns?
I can go, Candida. Yeah.
Thank you. I was just thinking, perhaps a survival on a certain level is necessary, because you know how everything has, you've got your spectrum, you've got the out of control, but then you've got the balance. Because if we feel we don't have to, because we're here to survive really as a species, primarily we are here to survive as a species. That's been in the history of the world, things have tried to eradicate, but our
Yes.
instinct for survival is what's pushed us forward. But I think it's when things go out of balance, that's when the problems arise, or that's when the conflicts and the difficulties and the challenges. In terms of myself, because I'm at a different stage of life, because I'm 74 now, and so all the things that I had to do before, insofar as taking care of everybody and everything around me, and I don't have to do that so much anymore. And one of my difficulties has been understanding, I understand it in my head, but embodying that and letting go of the things that I had to survive and my kids had to survive, and you know, the thing. Survival for me now would mean something quite different than it did before. And I see it as a good thing if I keep it in balance. You know, because it allows for the desires of the heart to come up. So what's my next step? And how do I want to do this? What do I want for this remaining time on my planet? But if I didn't have that instinct to stay here, because I do want to stay here for a very long time, because there's so much that I want to do. I don't know, that's how I see the survival is about everything else, just keeping it in balance.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is for you, it's a motivator to move through to the next, to the things that you want to achieve.
I guess so, because I hadn't actually thought of it in terms like you put it, like of having to survive. But
Yeah.
when you were talking, because I think about it in terms of what I want for my life and how I want my life to be, what I want to share, that kind of stuff. But when you put it in those terms, it made me think about what do I actually think about survival. And it just came to me in that moment that you were speaking.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that perspective. Don't you, ladies? Yeah, because it's naturally moving you into the direction that you want to go. And that's it, balance, right? It's good and bad and everything. So a beautiful perspective. I think, Helen, you want to jump in, or Beck?
I did, yeah. I've heard survivor, thriver as a nice contrast. So, yes, we all have to survive life on this planet, totally, but what is it to thrive? And that they're, again, on a spectrum, aren't they? We still need to eat food and pay the bills. One of the things that I implemented in my journey to start moving out of the real survival pattern that I was in was a real nervous system reset pattern for me. I started to book weekends away by myself and said to my family, don't contact me or contact you. And that was a really important stepping stone. That was me starting that process of reclaiming myself. It was me going away and having my own program of things that I would do, take some candles, do some meditation, do some journaling, drawing, those sort of things. But that sense of having just space where no one was going to ask me to do anything. Some of us as women, and I identify with this, become a martyr when you're a parent and you get lost. And that's what happened to me. I got lost. I became such a martyr. I felt I was responsible for all the food, all the meals, for so many different things. And that little thing of starting to go away for a weekend, and I didn't prepare their meals. I didn't do any of that. I've had friends who say, I go away for the weekend and I make all these meals and they're in the fridge when I leave, and I come home and they're all still just sitting there. Don't fall for those sort of things. They're big people. They can survive too.
Yes.
So I see that was a really important stepping stone for me. The nervous system reset of going away. Doesn't have to be by yourself. That feeds me. It could be going away with girlfriends, or it can be going on an organized trip or something like that. But just getting out of the rut of your day-to-day life, I found that was a really important step for me in moving out of that survival.
Beautiful. Giving yourself permission to thrive and needing that space. It's so important. And you would know, like you've been through, people who've been through these serious health conditions, something has to shift, something has to move. And I honor you for listening to that. And for your vulnerability and sharing as well. Thank you so much, Helen. And Melissa, jump in.
I'll say here, so what popped into my head was when I was in survival mode, I felt like I wasn't connected to me and my higher self or the divine. And so every time I stepped out of that trust of trusting myself, of trusting the divine plan or the flow of life, and I had to really evolve or step into that piece of myself, into that femininity, into the flow, and trust and allow for things to unfold. And I think for me, survival is all based in I need to know, as you said earlier, the known. What's the known? Because if I don't have the known, my life doesn't feel stable, especially as a single mom. I was so in that always, how am I going to pay for this? Or what's going to happen if this happens? And I was constantly in that whirlwind in my mind. And so as my consciousness rose and the more I spent time with myself, the more I began to trust the flow of life, and I began to trust people in my inner circle, and I began to trust spirit. I call it spirit. And I think all of that led then to what I consider living my life, living. I don't know what's going to come tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen to my children. I can't know all of that. But if I'm living every day, then I'm not in that survival space anymore. Not that I don't go back sometimes, but it's way less than it used to be. And every time, and this is what I teach in my work, is every time I step into a fear-based space or a place of the unknown, I imprint in my subconscious when I do it, okay, that makes me more confident. That makes me feel like I'm truly living. And I can look back on those and reflect on those times where I walk through those hard places.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm building this mountain of experiences that will remind me that I don't have to just survive life. I'm supposed to live it, and I have done it.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And if you can walk on fire that many times, you can do anything.
That's right.
Just want to say, gorgeous. Thank you, Melissa. That's beautiful. I totally relate to that. Yeah, when you're a mom, single mom specifically. Beck.
Yeah, so I think the issue that everybody or many people have right now is the way that society is set up, right? It's set up to keep us in that constant survival mode. Like we always have to go. And then to go back to what you were saying at the beginning about the divine feminine and all of that kind of stuff, women are told that the feminine aspects are like dirty words, right? They're like softening and surrendering. It's like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be out there and doing all this stuff and be more in the masculine. And then vice versa, you've got the men being told being masculine is bad and you can't be the protector because that's threatening. And so it's like we're in a world right now where we're out of alignment with our own energies, and then we're also not taught how to tune in with ourselves, not to tune in with our bodies, and not to tune in with our higher self or just our emotions in general. We're not taught this. And so that's why I think so many people suffer with this burnout, with feeling lost, or all of this stuff, because there's just so much put on everybody that is not necessary. It's not something that needs to be going on, but it's something that everyone's experiencing. And if people can just realize that, just coming back to themselves, just taking those few moments, because that's the other thing as well. You're told if you do things for yourself, you go off on vacations by yourself, like Helen or something, then that's selfish and you're a terrible parent or a terrible person because you're just this selfish person, right? So you don't do these things for yourself. You don't do the self-care. You don't want to do anything for self-love or self-worth because that's something bad. That's not something you deserve to do. And this is such a shame, I think. And there's this something beautiful when somebody realizes that there is this option to come back to home to themselves and to realize their power within them to actually just breathe. And that's just incredible to watch that process. I'm sure everyone here has had that with clients and what have you. It's just so beautiful just to see the person just allow and just discover who they are, because most people, they don't know who they are. And that's a shame.
And that's why we have people like all of you ladies here guiding them back to themselves, giving them that permission because they've never had it before. It's so ingrained, and it's been ingrained for so long and conditioned in us that these are our identities, these are our roles in life, and this is what we have to do to survive. But yeah, teaching them other ways and doing the inner work, right? Doing the things that make the most difference. Thank you for bringing that piece. It's so important. I wanted to also just bring in there that place around safety. We've not been taught to feel safe, specifically when we've grown up in environments that weren't safe. So we've never learned how to feel safe within ourselves because we haven't been able to feel safe in our own environment. And that's a thing that we have to relearn, how to be safe in our bodies, how to be safe within us. So that just brought up that for me when you were sharing there, Beck, and because support creates safety, and safety allows that alignment and that movement forward. And that comes into align with the fire horse side of things too, because the fire horse energy is very powerful, but it's only powerful when it's guided, when we have the guidance. And it's okay to ask for support. Yeah. Because without it, we don't move forward. We don't have the momentum, and we become burnt out eventually, and we get ill or nothing. You hear people saying, oh, nothing's working out for me, because you're not working out for you. And coming back home to yourself is a place to start. Yeah, because the horse doesn't run because it's afraid. It runs because it's free. Yay. And that's what we're all striving for, is that freedom. And the support frees us from that survival. So I'd love to open the space for anyone else to share maybe a moment when you realize that you've moved out of survival, or a time when support really helped you move forward in a new way. Because we are not meant to do this alone. That's not what it's meant. This is why we have these wisdom circles, women coming together to empower each other. So anyone that wants to jump in around moving forward without force or asking for help even. Yes, go ahead.
I do have a really significant moment that I can remember, so that's why I thought I'd put my hand up. There's a woman called Jaya who created the erotic blueprint framework. It's very well known. Over 2 million people have taken this quiz that she put together. And I took the quiz about 10 years ago in an early form of the quiz. And I felt seen for the first time. And she described me as being primarily energetic, which is a person that feels all of the energies. Everything around me, I know what's going on. But I had been so overwhelmed in that space that I'd started to shut a lot of that down, and I was living deeply in the shadows of the energetic. And someone who's listening has asked, how do you move out of that fight and flight? Well, by deeply owning myself as an energetic, healing these shadows, learning to say no. Learning that I wasn't so much the center of the world for my children, that they needed to be their own centers. There were lots of lessons to learn. Yes, gradually unpacking those things. And yeah, but for me, that moment, I took the quiz and I thought, someone's described me, somebody knows who I am, and it's okay that I'm that type of person, because I also got a description of the superpowers of that, of being an energetic. And I expect quite a few of you that energetic blueprint style. But yes, it depends where you're living in it. And I was living in the shadow end of that. And yeah, so it's been this long healing process for me. But that was the moment, like, somebody's seen me, somebody knows me, and therefore they have the answers for me to be something other than just a survivor.
Love that. A guidance. And that was a pivotal moment by the sounds of it, where you realize that
Yeah,
you can be different and coming out of the shadow into the light.
that's right. It can be me.
Yes, you can be me. I can be me.
Unapologetically me. Yeah.
And I love it. And when I hear you women, I think a couple of you said it today, I am, right? That statement, I am. It's so powerful. You can define who you are in that moment. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Phannie?
Yeah. Yes. How'd you know?
Energetics.
Yeah, exactly. You could feel it, you could sense it, you could sense it somehow. The mysteries of that. I'm really drawn to the word inner wisdom here. And the pivotal point for me was learning that I get to choose where I'm coming from. Because we all have wounding. To be a human is to have pain and to experience suffering. It's just part of the script. You're here, your energy, you're embodied. I think everyone here has given birth. Even if you're a perfect parent, that experience on its own is traumatic enough to create some narrative for a new being to be like, something fucked up going on here. So we're all wounded, but we all are spirit. We all are God embodied, whatever word you want to use. And also coming to that nervous system question that came in from an audience member, it's like your wholeness knows, and that is your inner wisdom, and that inner wisdom lives in you. And so for me, it's like it's just a process of unwinding what is your illusion, what your assumptions are, what the beliefs you project. Like Helen was talking about her shadow. Like our shadow is our perception. It's what we project onto the world of how it is here. But if you don't know you're doing that, then you're a fish in water and you just think that's how it is here. And so there's this unwinding process. You have that spark in you that's like, a lot of people I work with, it's like either some sort of trauma that wakes them up. Is this what I have to deal with? Or it's the question of, is this what life is? Is this all that life is? I wake up, I grind, I make money, I pay my taxes, I eat food, I go to sleep. Is this it? Is this what I want out of life? And that spark is the whisper of your soul going, hey, I came here for more than this robotic existence. And to know that you have a heart and that your heart's talking to you. And a lot of what we're talking about is like survival mode. The body has needs. And when you meet those needs, when you are able to listen. So like for me, inner wisdom has two tiers. First, there's the literal physical inner wisdom of the millions of years of evolution that live inside your body, that know how to navigate. It knows what foods are good for you. It knows how much sunlight you need. It knows all of those things. And when you're in harmony with that, that gives you the balance that Candida kept talking about as a portal into your gifts, your talents, your essence, your embodied spirit that's here for creativity and connection and love and all of those beautiful things. And so for me, it was really the moment that like, I get to choose if I play out my victim orientation or if I choose my heart. And that choice is a daily moment to moment choice because stuff comes up all the time. I don't sleep right now. So my nervous system is like this all the time. And so it's like, I can react like this, but I have tools. I can feel my body. I can feel my breath. I can take that moment. So it's practice. Your dysfunction is default, that patterning, that wounding, that perception, that will be where you go if you're not paying attention. So you have to train yourself. You have to find somebody to train you. You have to find a practice that resonates with you to train yourself to be able to resource the tools that bring you into presence, that give you that opportunity to step into something different.
Yeah, love that. Thank you, Phannie. And apologies, I didn't see the question that you mentioned, both ladies. But yeah, that I think you're all covering what that is about. And I hear the tools are so important to have your toolbox of options that you can turn to at any given moment. And my motto from a long time ago is start the way you want to finish. So I start my day the way I want to finish. I load myself up with what I need for me before anything else. And sometimes that may take 30 minutes, sometimes it might take 2 hours, but give yourself permission or make the time in the day. I have a beautiful resource I created if the audience member would like to reach out and grab it, which is your power planner that you can start your day with. So you know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and it's incorporating your gratitude practice, the 3 things that you want to get done for your business or your personal life, the top 3 things and nothing else, right? Prioritizing, asking the question, how did I nourish myself today? Have I drank enough water? And then reflection at the end of the day, plus a journaling section. So if you want that, please reach out. That was just something that came through me. So I am loving this. I know if we've got a few minutes left. In the response to the audience question, if there's anything anyone would like to add of that, or what kind of movement feels right for you this year? What movements what feels right for you, or what sort of support would help you stay out of survival and keep you moving forward? And what are you no longer willing to push through? Maybe that's a good questions to ask yourself to support you in that movement forward. So who would like to jump in with extra? Beck?
Yeah, no, just to answer the audience question, obviously they've got quite a few things, but I just wanted to say as well that everybody is different with everything. I find that a lot of people will say this is the way to do it and this is the only way to do it, and that of course doesn't work for everybody. For example, just tune in with your body and connect with your body. But if you're in some kind of trauma survival where you had to disconnect from your body, you don't know how to do that, for example, right? So it's very much, unfortunately, about trying lots of different things and seeing what works for you. And maybe if something's not working for you now, it's just because you're not ready for it yet. So try it again in the future, by all means. But you do need to just find the modalities, whatever it is, to incorporate into your own personal toolbox, right? What works for me is not going to work for Helen, is not going to work for Melissa. We're all so different. So that was just something I wanted to say there. As for me, I just wanted to say, I've said this quite a few times with like Sacred You before, but because I had that traumatic life beforehand, and because I was still helping my clients and all this stuff and not realizing to help me, and I had that whole year last year of focusing on coming back to me and that self-care, self-love, self-worth. And so that's another reason why this year, fire horse year, I didn't even realize until recently that's the time that I was going to be leaving. But I'm going to be going off on an adventure, and I'm literally just don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to book the one-way ticket. I may come back to Canada. I may end up in Australia. I may go around Europe. I may stay in the UK. I don't know. I'm just literally going to wing it. And honestly, it's terrifying. I used to be so good at travel, but now, after all the things that I've experienced in Canada, that had traumatic effects on me, which I'm still healing from. But now it's just to come back to that whole word of freedom that you mentioned before, Joanne, right? This is my freedom now. I used to have this freedom. I used to just get up and go traveling, and I haven't done that for 13 years.
Wow.
Now this is me coming back to me. This is me rediscovering me, and this is my healing by exploring. And so that is my medicine, right? Hopefully still my medicine. So that's what I plan to do for me. I'm still going to be out there helping people, but I'm going to focus more on me. I'm going to focus on my boundaries. I'm going to continue to learn to say no, all of this stuff which I've struggled with before. And this is what I'm encouraging people to do is find, it doesn't have to be as extravagant as book a one-way ticket and go traveling with no plans. That's ridiculously silly of me. But
Not at
find that
all.
thing, even if it's just to have an afternoon cup of coffee and where you sit down and just relax for a few minutes, whatever it is for you, just find that thing and start off small and work your way up. And the
I love
the
that.
changes that you notice are huge, even with the most smallest little things.
Yeah, I love that. It's jumping in, galloping into the unknown, and you're being guided. Obviously, you're being guided. It's not silly that you are doing this. It's something within you saying, I need to go explore, and this is what the horse is about. So good on you.
Can I also
We're all supporting you.
Thank you. But I also just point out very quickly that I had a few clients separately pointing out that because it's the end of the snake year,
Yep.
they're literally cleaning house. They're getting rid of people, things, emotions, thoughts, objects in their houses, and they're just literally releasing, like with no upset, no grief, no nothing. They're literally just releasing these things away because they just feel the energy
Yes.
of the horse coming in. They want to start that horse with a clean slate. So that's also something I wanted to add since we're bringing up those
Absolutely.
today.
Shedding. Ah, perfect. Perfect. Ready for the gallop. Awesome. Thanks, Beck. Excited for you. Anyone else want to share last words around what feels right for you this year, or what support would help you stay out of survival and keep moving forward? And what are you no longer willing to push through? Any
Go
of the
ahead,
above.
Candida. I'll go after you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'll try and be quick. This might be helpful, I think, if because where we place our attention, then the energy goes there, and the symbology of the fire horse. So as you were speaking, and when you brought that up, I thought, okay, fire is transformation, right?
Yeah.
So we know that this is the year of transformation. So if we can direct our awareness to in what way do we wish, so that we're doing things consciously, like in what way do we wish to transform, and the knowing that we are supported conscious cosmically and everything wise in that direction. And the horse is an elegant creature. How can we do that with elegance, but speed and strength? So embodying those qualities, because symbology is how we relate to things. Like we need to see things visually, and then we can bring them in and embody those energies. So transformation, elegance, speed, strength. And a horse is focused. It doesn't go all over the place, does it? So I just thought perhaps bringing our awareness to the symbology of that and what that can mean for us. And when we direct our conscious awareness to that, and how that can affect us in our body and in our minds and in our hearts in moving forward, unimpeded like the horse does.
Yes, I love that symbology. Yes, beautifully
Yeah.
said, Candida. And having
Yeah.
that visual,
Yeah.
elegance,
Yeah.
grace,
Yeah.
confidence,
Yes.
focus, like
Yeah.
all of it embodied. Bring that in, ladies, if you're watching out there, bring it all in. I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Melissa.
Yeah, and I'll just share really quick that what came in when Becca was speaking is that horses a lot of times are together. They're in, I don't want to call it a pack. It's not necessarily a pack, but if you see the wild horses in the free areas, like in the ranges, they are together, like running, and they're happy together. And that's really what I feel about a lot of the women in my life who I've become close to after learning how to ask for help, is that who are those women I have found to really be my people, my tribe. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find those people. This is a great way right here to tap into these circles, because one, I'm a priestess, and so I have a core group of women that I'm always in connection with. And the other piece I was going to say for me personally is I've been joining a laughter call every Monday morning at 9 a.m. and it's 30 minutes. And this morning I am making food, laughing on this conference call. But that's the kind of energy that I want to step into. I want to step into the feeling of being free, not survival, but in joy, in transformation. And I know I can already tell this happens. This kind of stuff always begins before it begins for me. I don't know about you all, but when I know something's coming, it will start working on me beforehand. And I could feel already the year of the horse coming through for me big time. So I only know and I'm a fire person. That's my sign too. So
Yes.
I am just all about the fire. So laughter for me is a tool I'm going to use this year.
Love that. Love that. Do what brings you joy. And there's so many resources and groups out there. I'm part of a few. One is an intention group, a powerful group of women who support 3 people that are having challenges with intention, holding space. Oh my goodness, it is unbelievable. So yes, join these online or groups or in your community. This is beautiful. Absolutely. Thanks, Melissa. Anyone else? Helen, did you want to last parting words of wisdom?
Oh, tempt me. In Taoist teaching, the fire element is the heart. And to me, this year is about heart pericardium energy, which extends from your fingers all the way through your breasts, a part of that heart energy. My words of wisdom are, don't be afraid of the fire energy. Be grounded. Bring in water energy, but yes, the fire energy is the alchemical energy. So everything that you've done till now is going to be burned and tempered in the fire and come out as something new. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, I love this. Oh, my heart is singing. Oh, Phannie, did you want to have a last 1 minute or even less, half a minute? You good? Thank you.
No, I just think your heart, follow
Yeah.
your heart,
Follow
and
your
listen
heart.
to your own rhythm, and your heart is the key. So
100%. Thank you so much. And this year, I'm really leaning into that idea of we don't have to run alone. We don't have to run alone. So I'm holding space for that. And for myself, having ongoing support, I think even as we do all this work, but we still need support. We reach out and have other coaches and people, mentors and people that we admire and follow. And so support around inside this community, the beautiful Sacred You community. Wow, what a support system that is. So please come in and join us here, and because that will nourish you. Yeah, you're always welcome here, and we have such beautiful wisdom circles. So with that said, place your hand on your heart. I'm feeling I have my hand on both hands, one on your belly, and just take a big deep breath in to close the circle today. And as you take that breath, just ask yourself, how do I want to move through this year? Not faster, not harder, but more supported. And this is what we're about here at the Sacred You community. So may the year of the fire horse carry you forward, resourced, grounded, and held. Thank you, everybody. You've just been amazing women to have this conversation with. I hope you can join us next month.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. It's been fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you, ladies. It's been
Bye.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, everyone. Helen and Candida, I know you do have to rush, and Melissa and Phannie, and of course our beautiful Becca for joining us again. What an amazing conversation. Oh my, I've been sitting here, and Joe, your meditations at the beginning and at the end, my heart is still pulsating. And love lots of tips. Becca, you can definitely come to Australia anytime you wish. Okay, absolutely. And for everyone else who's watching, thank you. Please leave any other comments, questions, read it in the comments below. Reach out to the amazing women on the links that are below or will be soon. Come and join us again. Joe will be back in a month for, I hope, the next edition of this incredible conversation. The fire horse will be well in
Swing.
well in racing, and love to know more. And of course, we've got lots of other wisdom circles coming up. Check it all out below. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, ladies.